Welcome back into the Sporting News studio. I'm Stephen Levine, and with me is Matt Hayes, college football writer for Sporting News. And Matt is a real live, actual, in the flesh Heisman Trophy voter. And we've got, what? We've got a defensive player, we've got a freshman, we've got Colin Klein, we've got just 3 finalists this year. I have 2 questions. Who is going to win and who should win?
Okay. This is going to be a tough answer, actually, Stephen. I think who's going to win is probably going to be Johnny Manziel, the first freshman ever to win the Heisman, so it's a nice little story. Who should win? That's up for debate. I mean, he certainly won. I think if you start looking at guys like who deserves to win, if you start looking at, the vote, they say it's the best player in college football, okay? It doesn't say anything about you have to be on a winning team. Doesn't say anything about you have to be a freshman or a sophomore or a junior or a senior. So I think if you start looking at pure players, I mean, is there a better defensive player than Jadeveon Clowney right now at South Carolina? Is there a guy you don't want to take your eyes off more than Marquise Lee at USC or Tavon Austin at West Virginia? So I think a lot of people kind of get caught up in the fact that, well, his team is number 1 or his team is number 2 or he won this big game. I think it's got to be a totality of a season and a totality of what happened in big games as well as games where, maybe they didn't expect much.
You have Johnny Manziel. He's a freshman. It kind of sticks in my craw a little bit to give it to a freshman. And am I looking at this thing the wrong way? Is it really just the best football player this season? Or can we take a little bit into account of, okay, the career he's had or the way he's led his team over time?
You definitely are looking at it the wrong way. And you know who else would tell you you're looking at it the wrong way is Herschel Walker, who should have won it as a freshman. Or Adrian Peterson, who should have won it as a freshman, but didn't because you got the old school guys who refused to vote for freshmen. I don't think it matters at all what class you are. If you're the best player in college football, and you're the guy who means the most to his team, and you're the guy who played well in big games, and you're the guy who had the Heisman moments, I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, redshirt senior, whatever. You're the guy that should win it. So I'm not hung up on the freshman thing. I'm not hung up on the defense thing. It's a little weird to me that Manti Te'o is kind of the defensive candidate right now when there are at least 3 or 4 defensive players that have a better seasons than he has had, including Clowney and a guy like Jarvis Jones at Georgia.
Well, what about that? I mean, I think the last defensive guy to win was what, Charles Woodson in '97? Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
He wasn't even a defensive guy. He was obviously he was a defensive starter, but he played some wide receiver. He had a lot of return yards, and I think the return game was actually what probably got him the trophy. Okay,
so can a defensive player win the Heisman?
We're going to find out this year, Stephen. Because no, seriously, because honestly, when you look at this season, it kind of sets up for Manti Te'o to win it. Obviously, because he plays for Notre Dame, which is the storied traditional team. He's in a situation right now where he's going up against a freshman, which a lot of Heisman voters, the old school, old guard guys, don't want to vote for freshmen. Again, I don't agree with that. But he could be in a situation where he wins the Heisman because a lot of things have come together, kind of the perfect storm.
Wow. So it's possible we could have a defensive player win the Heisman, but in your opinion, not even the best defensive player to emerge this season.
Right, and frankly, I don't think Teo's going to win it. I think it'll probably be Johnny Manziel, and I think in the end it'll probably be pretty comfortable, actually.
Really? So then you win the Heisman as a freshman. Where do you go from here?
You deal with expectations for the next 3 years because Johnny Manziel if he's 6 foot, I'm 6'8", and I'm not 6'8". So he's not going anywhere early. He's not leaving for the NFL. He's got 3 more years of huge expectations to deal with in a meat grinder of a conference, in a brutal division where now everybody's going to say, okay, you won the Heisman. Guess what's next, Johnny? How about winning your division? How about winning the SEC? How about winning a national championship? Good luck, kid.
All right. Well, there's Matt Hayes. I'm Stephen Levine in the Sporting News studio. Thanks a lot for watching.